This chat is called Shared Space, New Money, a Conversation, and explores the world of cryptocurrency. Our moderator is the co-founder and chief engineering and technology officer of Love Will Inc. and the head of vision and decision for Hydro. Please welcome Lamar Wilson.
How's everyone doing? Now listen, the energy in here is better than any energy I've ever felt at a tech conference, so I just want everybody to say, what's happening? There we go. In this session, we will examine how digital currency could be in the missing piece to financing businesses in the Black community, and why you need to pay attention before it's too late to take full advantage. Now, just before we begin our conversation, it is my pleasure to introduce one of our featured panelists who will present a firsthand perspective on venturing into this somewhat new phenomenon. He is the chief visionary of Acoin. You probably already know who I'm talking about. As well as Grammy-nominated artist, producer, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. Everyone, please help me in welcoming Mr. Acoin.
Good afternoon, everybody. You guys look amazing. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to wear a suit or just look techie today. So I said, fuck it, let me wear a suit. First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for coming out. This is one of the events that I was really looking forward to this whole year. Everything was kind of put together real sporadically, real quick. But this was something I was like, man, my team got to make sure this happens, because I'm running all throughout Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa. You're speaking about Black empowerment and what, you know, us as Black people need to be doing to kind of advance each other, and ultimately unity and what that looks like, what that means. You know, I always felt like our weakest link as people was unity. You know, like we don't come together enough and we don't collaborate enough. That's one of the reasons why even on the music side I do a lot of collaborations, because I always felt like strength is in numbers. I can easily go out and do a hit record by myself, but if I can share that light and empower one of my brothers, it only gives us both a bigger platform to create and open up opportunities for each other in the future. So I was always built, even my career was built on helping other people build their careers. So ultimately, when this crypto thing came to light, it became something that I felt like would be the solution for Africa. Because lately my main objective and, you know, initiative is trying to figure out ways to infrastructurally build Africa. Because it just doesn't make sense how Africa has all these resources, this huge population, all this history, and we still 10, 20 years behind as far as development. And then when you look at what Africa does to the rest of the world and what it contributes to the rest of the world's development, and none of that comes back to Africa and eventually develop itself, I said, something is just not quite right about this picture. So when you look at Africa's youth population, 70% of Africa is about 25 years old and younger. So it's filled with youth. Billion plus people of all young, 25 and under. And what's crazy is the tech world there is fully developed. Like we literally leapfrog across landlines and went straight to cell phones. From mobile payments, Africa did it all first. You know, like when you just look at the inventions and all the new latest technologies that America's using now, all the way down to the transportation systems to you name it. A lot of those programmers actually were from Africa. Those were just programs rebuilt and took into the next level, reskinned, relooked, you know, remarketed, and then redistributed. So in every tech area, in every infrastructural area, in every resource area, Africa's constantly being, you know, utilized. But nobody benefits in Africa, but everybody else in the rest of the world benefits. And I think that one of the main reasons is because of the unity aspect of it, because we just never gave each other enough power. We always felt like if we took that invention and passed it over, it could get maximized better, which is clearly a really crazy concept, but it's worked for individuals, because if somebody can offer you more money for an invention, you're naturally going to go to who can offer you the most money. But if we look at our development as far as currency, we'll never get anywhere. We have to look at it as a resource. And you don't understand the power of resource, we're always going to be in slavery. No matter how many countries that we build, no matter how many companies that we build, we're always going to be enslaved. So when you look at every sector, right, you have sports, we dominate. When you look at lifestyle, we dominate. When you look at fashion, we dominate. When you look at influence, we dominate. I don't think there's no sector that we don't dominate, but yet we don't own. And when it came to the entertainment side, that's what really opened me up. Like the urban music department, if you would look at, let's say, Universal, for instance, their market share is about 80%. They practically own the music business. But out of that, what they own, over 90% of that is our urban music sales. So if we're making the music, they making billions, and then 5, 10 years from now, we broke. Something ain't right. We get this huge advance, first thing we're gonna do is buy a car. Then we gotta get the chain to match. Y'all know how I go. We gotta floss on them hoes, right? But think about it, like this is our mentality. Why do you think Instagram popping right now? Everybody is showcasing what they don't have. But I think it's because of the fact that we just never really had. Or we had and just didn't know we had. Or we just didn't appreciate what we had. See, the things we don't appreciate are the things that's actually the most powerful, right? So they always say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And the things that we don't really know has value, other people have figured it out to be very valuable. So the little things that we take for granted, is being exposed, maximized, and then eventually created to be something worth having, but we just have to realize the power in what we have. And it all starts back to unity again, because if I don't educate you and you don't educate me, then we become uneducated. And if this continues, we're all going to eventually be Trump supporters. Because we are supporting them right now, believe it or not. Your mind may say, man, I can't rock with Trump. But our actions is rocking with Trump. Because the more we stay divided, the more he wins. So we have to come together through education. We have to come together through resources. And we definitely got to come together through finances. But more together than that, we have to trust. And trusting is the first instinct that we have to know physically, mentally, that we have to install in ourselves, is that we got to be able to trust each other. And to bring it all back, the reason why we build an A-coin is to build that trust. Now, A-coin stands for the African coin. It just was a coincidence that it sounds like my name. I ain't doing it on purpose, I promise. It just happened. So the key is to take all those resources, all that population, create entrepreneurship, create value, and resource it all into one specific currency, to where now we can really come together as a unity, as people, and really maximize what value Africa has. And now we can use that value to rebuild ourselves, rebuild our country, and move forward in the future and be competition, and at the same time, continue to be helpful to every other nation that surrounds us. So as we come together as people, then everything else kind of falls in place. And what I decided to do is not just to come together as a race, but also just to come together with minds. Because when you think about it, at the end of the day, we all go in this together, right? Yeah, we had history. And I think as long as we hold on to history, we're going to always be behind the ball. We got to think to the future. And we can't use, history as a way of creating an excuse for our success. You can't keep saying the white man did this, the white man did that to us. Because at the end of the day, we're really doing it to ourselves. Even back then, we did it to ourselves. There's 1,000 niggas on the plantation and 3 white men with guns. You really think they did that to us? Like, really? Think about it. Like, if we would have just came together, we could have overpowered them. Yeah, 1 person or 2 people might have got shot, but let that be the sacrifice. But you see what I'm saying? Like, nobody wants to take the bullet. Somebody got to take the bullet for everybody. So it's a mentality thing. It's a mentality thing. And I just want us to, understand that when you're wrong, you're wrong. But we can't continue to blame for moving forward. We have to be able to move forward together, come together as a group, as a people, think together, work together, and build together. So the idea of all of this, I really want to introduce the Acorn for people that didn't know what it was. And I got an amazing group that I put together that's really educated on it. And the whole idea is to build entrepreneurship throughout Africa and out of Africa. I always felt like Africa is a great place to start because Africa is the essence of where it all began. And, I want to also create that opportunity for African Americans to no longer be afraid to go back and invest back home. Because when you think about it, everything that you're going through here, you really don't go through there. You just don't. Yeah, racism really does exist in America, but it don't really exist in Africa. It's not that many white people. And if they don't like you, who gives a fuck? Their opinion don't matter there. So if you're thinking far right, you're already outnumbered. So it's not as effective, And then it doesn't help anybody to think that way. Just because someone don't view things the way you view it, don't make it right. It's not helpful for nobody. So when you stop and you think about what your investments are here and what you can gain with that investment here compared to what you can gain with that investment back home, it's like apples and oranges. I've probably, if I have to, let's say, put my success on a scale for what it took for me to accomplish in 15 years in America compared to what I accomplished in Africa in just 5 years, it's probably 20 times more in value than what I did in America. Reason being is because the land is wide open. The opportunities are so vast that it's ridiculous. And the crazy part about it is that Africans look to African Americans in a way that you would never understand. Like, they literally look at African Americans like, man, these guys are lucky. These guys are smart. These guys are educated. These guys are fearless. Like, they literally cherish African Americans not for who they are, but what they're dealing with in America. And then the opportunities just imagine the opportunities that you can actually bring to Africa with the education that you already have, with the resources that you already have, with the knowledge that you've been given up until this point. So there's nothing that's been built in America that can't be built in Africa and not be successful because you have the population, right? So I always kind of model Africa's growth compared to what happened in China. China was no different 30 years ago. China and Africa was in the same place 30 years ago. But then the Chinese and the Asians realized they had to come together. So what they started doing, they just started coming together, start building factories. All the farmers had to come together, start exporting their goods. The government came together and said, listen, let's make this one and let's be in one with the people so that we know what's going on, they know what's going on, everything is transparent. So everything just became one big unity pot. Now look at them. They're literally probably the powerhouse of the world, supplying everybody. There ain't a world you're gonna go in the world, or a place you're gonna go in the world that ain't got a Chinatown. And that whole area is Chinatown. Like the whole area. Half of downtown is Chinatown in every city you go. Imagine that in every country you go for black people. You ain't gonna find it. You're gonna find Mobutu with his little store over here, Mike G with his store over here, then you got Mustafa with his store over here, and they all struggling. Whereas if they just created an Africa town, they all share the rent, share the property, share the risk, and then there's one place to go when anybody in Africa needs something. They just say, man, where's the nearest Africa town? So the population and your you can say clientele will just find you. You won't have to go find it. But there ain't gonna be a Chinese person in the world that's gonna go anywhere in the world and feel like he or she ain't at home. Because they can just go to Chinatown. They need a job, go to Chinatown. You need some ginseng, go to Chinatown. But it's real, right or wrong? So you gotta create communities, which Acorn also does, create a community for black people or other. So we're trying to unite everybody in a way, but we gotta start with us first. The only thing I can say that Trump's policy would actually work would be in Africa, honestly. That America first need to be Africa first. That would work. It's a little far left, but black people, we far left anyway. I just saw a button that says, I love black people. I just saw the button. It felt weird seeing that though. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because I was trying to get one of my white colleagues to wear that, and he was like, well, I don't know, that might seem racist if I wear it, but you could wear it. So just think about it. Imagine I went to Texas to a white enterprise, and they had buttons that said, I love white people. And I Can you imagine what that would look like, me wearing that button? Just think about that. Like, we gotta think, guys, we gotta think. For everybody. So it's just a reflection of your mind state and what you may think and how others may think. So we gotta always keep that in mind as well, even though, of course, it's always for the right cause. You know, we are driving to create success, but at the same time, we wanna be able to move forward together. But let's think about how certain things are impacted, because sometimes our history will create actions that may seem okay to us, but it may not seem okay to the other side. And we don't never really take the time to understand the other side. And I think that's what's going on with politics today, because some people are just so fed up with their specific communities, organizations, and lifestyle, and how things and laws are driven to affect them, that we don't often think that if those little changes are made, how it's gonna affect that, and that what that reply and response is gonna be. So we never really come to a common ground as to what works for everybody. And one thing I realized in negotiation is that if both sides are unhappy at the end of the negotiations, then you made a good deal. But if one side is happy, the other side ain't, something ain't right about this deal. Because you're never gonna go and walk away where both sides are happy. That's just unhuman. Somebody, somewhere, gonna be mad. But it's okay if both sides are unhappy because one got a little more, the other one didn't, and you know, somewhere you can live with that, because at least I'm gonna say, okay, I wasn't as happy as a deal, but I know he wasn't either because I got that, and vice versa. So that actually works out for me. But we got to move forward and we got to think different. But at the same time, we got to think together. You ain't got to think the same, just think together. Because we're always gonna have different opinions. There's different, walks of lives. Everybody got different ways of what they, how they were brought up. Different religions, different, genres, different sexes. So we're gonna always think different in different cultures. So we always gotta realize at the same time that my opinion may not be relevant to someone else's opinion according to how that person was brought up. And if we take time to understand each other, then things can make actually a difference, So I think when we create platforms like this, it creates other people to understand where you come from through platforms. And that was another reason why I wanted to create Acoin in a way to where it was a platform that other platforms could be added to and also be extended and be able to utilize to where each platform can cooperate with the platform next to it in a way to where they can help each other build. So it don't matter what you may have. Yours may be related to education. Yours may be related to business. Yours may be related to medical. Yours may be related to trading. Somehow, all those pieces connect somehow. And when there's a piece that needs to be utilized in whatever time frame within that DApp, you can always collaborate with the DApp next door to give you the piece that you're missing, or to give you the piece that's needed to help you advance whatever your business is, or whatever your idea, or whatever your initiative is. And that's the whole idea. It's really the concept of unity and utilizing everything on there to be able to magnify each situation to make it a better situation. So I know I was supposed to only be here for like 15 minutes. It was funny because I was at the UN last week around the UN ceremony, and they gave me this award. And I was supposed to just come up and make an acceptance speech. Thank you, God bless, good night type of speech. But somehow I got the information that I was supposed to do a 45-minute lecture. No, hold on. This is what I'm getting, right? So I said, in the middle of it, I was like, yo, but how much time do I got? And the guy said, hey, take as much time as you need. I was like, all right, perfect. So I done put my award to the side and start speaking. And as I'm speaking, you got the organizers back there like. So I kind of get it right now, so I'm going to go
Yeah, they see me up, brother. So,
right,
thank you, Acoin.
You got it.
Appreciate it. I really and truthfully believe Acoin is a Baptist minister. Yeah, he's
this is
yeah.
I done took the moderator's job and everything.
It's all right, man. Good stuff. Hey, really good insight. But Acoin brought some friends along, and we want to make sure they had an opportunity as well. So first up is Mr. Ryan Scott. He is the CEO of Acoin. He's a futurist and social impact thought leader. Ryan is also a data privacy pioneer and holds a patent for opt-in email marketing. So welcome, Ryan, everyone. And next, I am pleased to introduce the president of Acoin, John Karras. Among his many accomplishments, John is the creator of disruptive crypto-driven streaming and ticketing platforms. Welcome, John. So we appreciate Acoin for laying that out. And I'll ask a couple of quick questions and then give the audience an opportunity to ask questions as well. So the very first question I'm going to ask is, and you probably have already heard this, but in a 30-second pitch, why Acoin? And is Acoin for only Senegal and the city that you're trying to build there?
Well, Acoin is for Africa. We're starting in Senegal because that's where I was raised, my mom, my dad. And Senegal also is like the headquarters to me of all of Africa, because only 6 hours from New York, same distance from New York to LA, 6 hours to France, 6 hours to Dubai, 6 hours to Morocco, practically 6 hours from everywhere. So it's like the perfect hub, and I felt like that would be the perfect place because it's one of the few places in Africa that's never been in conflict, and it's very religious, amazing people there, amazing food, and I just felt like it was the perfect headquarters that Acoin could be set for.
Awesome. So if I got this right, the president gave you 2,000 acres to do this?
No, actually, the president didn't give me no acres.
You bought them acres?
Yeah.
My man.
The president did give us the clearance.
Right.
To be able to utilize it to work.
Right. I'm just trying to disprove some of those articles that making sure the truth gets out there while we got the gentleman on stage. Yeah. Next up, Ryan, I just want to ask you, because I know you are the technologist in this group. What protocol, if any, is the Acoin going to be written on?
That's a good question. I mean, we're looking at all of the protocols, but we do have a special relationship with the folks at Stellar, and it has some unique technical capabilities that are useful for us, including the ability to kind of transfer from one currency to another. And because what we are is a DApp store at our core in this multi-currency wallet, to transfer from one currency to another is you kind of get that for free by using that protocol.
Right, so it speeds up the ability to create transactions.
Yep, we can change it into any one of other currencies, the currencies that our DApp partners are using instantly.
Right. And speaking of Stellar, this is a Black Enterprise exclusive. Today we launched our coin, the Garvey or the CJ, on the Stellar X platform. So what he's talking about.
Absolutely.
So, and if you guys want to ask later, you can talk about what coin do when we get into the questions, but we'll talk about that later. And then thirdly, here's my question to you. How do you see marketing, Mr. John? How do you see, Mr. John? That's something out of Tennessee. How do you see you guys marketing and getting the idea of Acoin out to all of Africa, right? Out to the entire diaspora.
We have a lot of partners that we're building this out with, from SAP, who we're cross-promoting and integrating with. We'll be in all of SAP's innovation centers around the globe, including at 3,100 colleges and universities and in every country in Africa. We'll be working closely with a whole bunch of celebrities and business leaders as part of our board of influencers, and then working directly with brands, finding ways to pair them with cryptocurrency and blockchain-driven solutions, particularly to stimulate youth entrepreneurship in Africa first and foremost, but around the globe.
Right. Do you all see, and anyone can take this question, do you all see Acoin having the ability to create what would be called a circular economy? So the way I look at currency is that currency is just a digital representation of the connectiveness of the nodes in a network, right? And so those nodes can be humans, and that currency actually shows how they are connected to one another and the participating nodes, right? Do you all think that Acoin can establish a circular economy that allows to build wealth within that economy? Is that
Of course.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
That is definitely the goal.
And so ultimately what we're doing, stable currency alternative for a lot of governments and people that need something that they might be able to rely on more.
Don't tell nobody, though.
Don't tell nobody.
Don't tell Twitter.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't tell
Black Twitter, leave that alone, please.
But definitely a circular economy where people will, save, spend, earn, and do all kinds of business and transactions, everything from land registration to voting to water to medical records to all kinds of things,
Right.
crowdfunding, all kinds of solutions.
I heard Akon, I heard you on an interview talk about, and you just said it a little bit today, talking about how Africa is going to be the next place for the next Uber, the next Google, the next, right? My question is, do you see Acoin being that power that powers that next Uber, that next? Do you see Acoin being that, or do you see a multiple group of currencies, potential cryptocurrencies that could power the entire movement?
Well, I definitely think I'm seeing Akon to be one of the champions of it.
Akon?
Acoin.
Because you're already a champion.
No, see,
Acoin?
there's two parts. You
Yeah,
got-
okay,
you got
yeah. Hit it
Akon,
up, my brother. Hit it up.
and then you got Acoin.
Right.
Okay. I'm thinking of Akon being the champion of it.
Right.
In other words, my goal
Ah,
is to bring all those brands into Africa. But I'm dreaming that Acoin be the platform that those brands sit on to be able to create that circulation that you're talking about.
Right, so you have a dream.
1,000%.
Right, got that. So Ryan, being the CEO, what is your vision? Like, you have to drive the vision of Acoin, and you're not Senegalese, right?
I am not.
So a lot of people in the crowd are probably looking like, what's this brother want to do with
I
Senegal?
got the pin, though, that he
right?
tried to put on me.
Yeah. So my question is, what is your vision for bringing that currency into Africa first? What is your vision for that? If
Well,
you're the
I mean,
CEO?
look, we obviously have a big advocate and a kind of a big megaphone with this gentleman, and I can't pretend to do what he does, but my goal is to give us the technical capabilities and the machine of the company to be able to make that vision a reality.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you? Because I know you're the president, so I mean, you're gonna actually be doing the work. He just gets to talk about the work, right?
We're all co-founders. We're all facilitating a bigger vision. Our mission is to be really a tool that's going to stimulate a lot of entrepreneurship and give people lots of different choices. The same way as in 10 years, the Apple App Store went from an idea to 2 million apps on it. We're looking to provide all kinds of solutions and give people a way to find that next billion customers, that next billion innovators, that next billion people that have a dream and that we can hopefully help facilitate.
Do you all have any apps or dApps that have been produced for it already? Like,
We have some partnerships, some that we have a big pipeline of them, and then we've got some partnerships that we've actually closed. One in particular that came on early was lottery.com. And the idea there is to take their charitable raffles model, where there's, and turn it so there can be more than one winner, and the prizes will be things like, and these will be sponsored by brands, so brands are going to be paying to do things like, okay, 1,000 people get education on how to start a solar business.
Gotcha.
Things like that.
So the people won't be paying for it.
Nope.
Oh, God, no.
Gotcha. I
Major
just want to make
brands.
sure. I'm going to make sure that the people.
Yeah, I mean, with a name like lottery, it's a great
Oh,
question.
yeah, it's kind of like, that's
Yeah,
a tax
of
on the
course.
poor.
Yeah.
Charity
gotta make them-
raffles. Charity raffles.
There you go. Awesome.
Many winners,
but
brand
education,
integrated.
focused.
Yep.
And then there's a lot of other apps, like things where you can use them to earn money on things that you may already be doing. I'll give you an example. For farmers, there's one called earning.io, where they can, a lot of money sources like foundations and USAID and a bunch of other organizations will pay for data on the ground that people can gather, a farmer can gather, an individual can gather this information, and be paid directly in cryptocurrency, which is something that was technically not possible to do in the past.
And cryptocurrency helps eradicate borders, right? Allows you to
Absolutely.
connect with people. So my question is, what do you all, I'll talk to you, Akon, because you were talking about Africa Town, right? What do you all think about connecting Africa to America through Africa towns, right? How do you, what's your vision on that? What do you see, and how do you see that moving the idea of this currency forward? Because we feel like, even with Wakanda, we feel like connecting the entire African diaspora through a central currency, and it could be many currencies, right? Because that's the whole point. It could be many currencies, but connecting those will actually build the wealth of the entire diaspora. Yes. So what do you all think that's what ACOIN is for? So you get these Africa towns, they get the resources from the rich resources of Africa, bring them here, sell the goods, those kind of things?
Well, I think that's actually in areas where you just mentioned with the Wakandas, we share the same idea with that.
Yeah.
The diaspora with Africa, that unity within it. But ultimately, even those who have interest in Africa or have ideas of investing into Africa, these would be, the key currency systems that they can actually go through to where, because it's about, like I told you, it's about trust, right? You want to associate with something that you can trust and that has the capabilities, the partnerships, and the resources to get you where you're trying to go financially and security-wise. So ultimately, the whole idea is to make sure that connection is made between all the connecting countries outside of Africa, leading it back into the continent itself.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think we have about 5 minutes for questions. If there's anyone out there that want to, here they come. Yeah, I think the whole audience is gonna line up. Nice. First person to the mic gets 100 ACOIN. I'm giving away their currency already. All right, which way we going? You got a mic?
Holy cow.
Oh, the mic's over here. We got the spotlight on my man back here.
Hi, my name is Nate Dillard, and I'm the CEO of the National Black Business Directory, and we're partnered directly with the Black woman-owned cryptocurrency Guapcoin. And I have 2 quick questions. With Africa merging very fast with China, how do you plan to make ACOIN something that empowers the people and also gives them that power over like another country moving in? And then also the other question I have is, as you said before, ACOIN is going to be a platform for different cryptocurrencies and different coins to work together with ACOIN and create one unified platform. So how do you plan to work with other cryptocurrencies like Guapcoin, the Black woman-owned cryptocurrency, and like other cryptocurrencies that are focusing on education and other things like that?
Yeah, well, that's actually really easy, because all we want to do is put you in a position where you have the access to Africa. With whatever your vision is for Africa, our platform will open you up to Africa. So now it's your job to sell it. And then wherever we can help, in areas where you feel you could be stronger, wherever the case, of course, naturally the collaboration is where everything will walk into. But you have to have a specific goal and a program for what your coin is to Africa for it to really make sense.
Okay.
You follow what I'm saying?
Hello, my name is Chris. I'm a former elected official here in California. I also own a coin called City Cash Coin.
You said elected official?
Former.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. City Cash Coin is...
I had questions for you. You know that, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Former. Let's get that clear.
I'm a moderate just like you. Democrat, though. But City Cash Coin is a coin that deals directly with local cities that have deserted land and buildings that they do not use. A lot of people don't know there's over 200 airports in California that are not being used.
Wow.
There's empty land. There's city-owned buildings. You won't believe how many different cities have this issue. Just in Stockton, California, was in receivership. You won't believe how much land that they have that is open for business, but they're not into selling property. And City Cash Coin is looking for your type of coin to kind of merge the two. You want to bring a small Africa to Stockton, California, to the Bay Area, we'll find the city to help you build that. Wow. So we're trading right now on Market Talks we just launched, but we're working with already 4 cities. They're going to accept our coin. Every time someone buys a piece of land from them, they're going to hold our coin on their end. So we're looking to partner up with other cryptocurrencies because there's so much land in California that is city-owned. You ever drive by a piece of land in city Fresno, for instance, and you just board it up. It's been boarded up for 20 years. You will be surprised what redevelopment agencies in these local cities have, and we're looking to build, throughout the United States with that.
See, that's actually very important, and it goes right back to our point, because a lot of things we know exist, but we don't have the access or the information to get into the access. So this is actually great, because partnerships like this we'll be looking for, because we'll also be able to help you to expose those opportunities to people that actually have access to capital or groups that can actually do something with that land. Absolutely.
One more thing, I've already acquired 6 acres in Linwood, California, to build a veteran housing project. You guys, it's over 200,000 veterans in the United States that don't have a place to stay. But they're allowing a density bonus up to 400%. So we're talking about building 400 units. And they're pretty much giving us the land, or a fraction thereof, with City Cash Coin.
I love that. Right. Yeah, let's definitely meet after, for sure.
Hey there, my name is Lynn Muldrow. I'm a current engineer with LinkedIn, and I had a really quick question for you. So as an engineer, I have been playing around with blockchain. I've built a couple things, and I wanted to find out how I could connect my dream and my passion with a coin. So essentially, I would love to start a coding school in Africa, specifically Accra, Ghana, and I want to know how I can leverage and use a coin to go through it.
Ryan at acoin.io. Start sending him some emails. Go back to your seat, text instantly.
Instantly. No, we're definitely looking for you guys.
But we're an open source platform, so we're looking for the best and the brightest to help bring tools to stimulate entrepreneurship, provide training, products, services, goods, all kinds of things. So there you go.
Really quick, that's a quick question. What's the ETA? Like, when do you all?
First quarter of 2019.
2019.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Voltaire Exodus, and I run a tech startup called WeUp in Holland. I'm African American, though, and I flew out here for 2 questions.
Like, with them dreads, you can't run from it, bro.
Right. I flew out here for two questions. So my tech startup, what it does is it's an app that pays people to stick to their goals in life and solve social problems.
Love it.
But because we can measure an individual and a group, we can measure cities and countries in real time. So we're a solution tool for the UN's 2030 sustainability goals. I'm looking to headquarter in Africa, Ghana specifically. And my first question is, why would you say Senegal would be better than Ghana? And then my second question to Ryan and Jan, what in your personal experience growing up that you had in your life created a passion to connect people from the African diaspora and unify them?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Sure. I guess let me just talk about kind of my history really quick of being an impact. When I was 9, I remember watching the Jerry Lewis telethon. And you're probably all too young to even know what I'm talking about. But it was all about muscular dystrophy. And I just remember like the outpouring of love that people had for, even like for a disease they didn't even understand necessarily, and I didn't understand it. But when I saw a problem, and I saw they presented to me a potential solution, I thought, what was really my excuse for not doing something about it? And that's kind of been my motto from, again, since I was 9 years old. How can I how in seeing a solution could I not do something? And I think with my technical background and the things that I've learned about blockchain and my history of doing impact, it just made a lot of sense to work in this space.
And for me, I've always been a champion for creative people, innovators, business people that needed more resources. My grandfather automated sewing as a poor immigrant from Hungary, and just being able to bring tools and knowledge and facilitate people bringing innovation to the world. Africa is the greatest opportunity on the planet. Young population, technologically adept, necessity and desire. There's no place like it on the planet. And once you're there and you've seen that, it's the opportunity is unbelievable. So helping to maximize those people's choices and chances it's unbelievable. It's just very rewarding.
Yep. And for you, I think for what you're doing, Ghana is actually a better place, honestly, because they speak well-versed English in Ghana. The development in Ghana on an infrastructural standpoint is growing really, really fast. They completely get it. What you're doing, that would be the perfect place. Me, on the other hand, for Senegal, it was about connecting all the borders. And that was one of the main reasons why I chose Senegal. And politically, it's a great, great area, and it has the best reputation in all of Africa you could say, political standpoint, right? And then I had a great relationship, a better relationship than with my president in Senegal than I do in Ghana. So I can ask for more favors, pull him over to the side and have a real conversation. And he understands that my passion, because my mom and my dad were both born there, you know, it's also a sentimental reason for why I think Senegal is too. But more than anything, it's a historical purpose, because this is something brand new, and it's something that's going to launch Africa's future to me. And when you look at Senegal and its history, that was the headquarters of where all the slaves were created, like literally fed, stored, and then shipped off to the rest of the world. So it's a real historical attachment to why I felt Acoin needed to be established in Senegal, because I want people to come to Senegal and learn the first aspect of their history even starting, and that area and how important it is to African Americans. Because Senegal is a place that I don't think no African American should die without going there first. If you really want to understand your history, you have to go to Senegal. It's a very must.
Man. And I think that's our time. And I think that we end on that. Like literally, the time's up. Is that okay? Can we extend it? Y'all want to extend it? Somebody tell me. I would love to extend it. Oh, nope, we can't. They giving me they in the back with the airline control stuff. So, yeah, I think that's a really good ending. Thank Akon, Mr. Ryan, John. Thank you guys for coming. We appreciate it. Give them a round of applause. We appreciate it. Oops.